All right, so this is the third lesson that I do with middle schoolers using Chromebooks and SOUNDTRAP. In the second lesson, we got to this point, right? I made 2 burgers. I chopped out half of this one, chopped out all of this one, and then I have a full burger here. In the second lesson, I asked them to do that again, but only using different tracks, right? So I go through the same process, but I asked them to use a different synth, a different bass, and a different beat this time. Once they get to this point, there are extra steps. And usually what I'll do is show them all of it. I say, keep your Chromebooks away, watch me do all of this. Then I say, take your Chromebooks out, and I go through one step at a time as they're working so they can see it. The next step is to drag select, copy, paste, Control C, Control V. Third one. Now the project's getting pretty long here. So I need to move this. I need to click on the zoom out button once. This is important. They don't understand at first that if you zoom out, the burgers look smaller. So if I zoom out a lot and I make a really long project, students will think that this is a burger that I have split in half. So you really have to emphasize that if I zoom out, everything gets squished. If I zoom in, everything gets bigger. I have to say that every single lesson, because every single lesson somebody goofs that up. Okay, so now I have 2 burgers. The extra step for today in this project is to add something else right here, right? I tell them, this is a long time to listen to the same thing. So how about halfway through, we keep their interest by giving them something else to hear or something else to listen to. And I tell them at this point, we have a synth bass beat. Add whatever you want. If you want to add a piano, guitar, another synth or another bass or something. So whatever. I'm just going to add something random today. There it is. Now, I failed to mention in one of the other videos, the last step I have my students do always is to change the colors. And I tell them, it tells me that from across the room, if I see this like rainbow order that SOUNDTRAP does, if you've got mixed up colors, that tells me you're done and I can come check on it. Okay, so the last step is always change the colors around so they're not so rainbow-like, right? Even something like this is perfect. Tells me that they're done. So they've added a 4th one. And then lastly, we're going to do a fade out, right? So I'm going to drag select all of them. And this kind of blows their mind because they've heard like a legit song on Spotify. A lot of them have fade outs, so it makes their project sound more legit to them. So drag select all 4 and let go. Make sure they don't grab the extra burger next to it. You only need to touch all 4. Then in the very corner is a white dot that they can grab and drag this way. Okay? And that's it. That'll make it fade out. Be careful here. First of all, I'm hitting Control Z to undo. It's not doing much. There we go. If they do, and I have to show them this. Hey, if I do this, it's going to make a fade out. But what if I do them all individually? First of all, it takes forever. But what is wrong with this? And someone will say, they all fade out at different times. Yeah, they fade out at different speeds, and that doesn't sound professional. So I'm going to hit undo, and I'm going to drag select them all and take any of these white dots, and it will fade them together. The other thing you need to look out for as a teacher is I tell my students, I tell them, please never, ever take a track with this loop arrow and stretch it to make it longer. Please don't ever do that because they will see this extra burger, right? They'll go, oh, I need this to be twice as long? Okay. There, I made it twice as long. And they have no idea that that's 2 measures too long now, right? They have no gauge for where to end it. So I tell them, please don't ever shorten or lengthen a track by stretching it like this. Okay, will I use that to fix their project if it goes off the rails? Yes. But I ask them to never do that because it just every time somebody does this, the whole project falls apart. And I'm not exaggerating. Okay, here's my ending. Do a fade out. So you have to tell them to be careful because they might accidentally click on this one and do that. There's your fade out. Up here's how you title your song. I should have done that in the first video too, right? I try to say it every single time. Your title must start with capital letters. Every word in your title. You can name it anything you want. Whatever inspires you. My students have a fun time being creative here. But you have to have every word start with a capital letter because that's how professionals do it. Does Ariana Grande and Taylor Swift have songs that are officially on their albums that start with lowercase letters? Of course they do, but they like breaking the rules. It's my job to teach you guys the rules. Capital letters. Then click save. That's the third project.